What is going on out there, world? It's your boy Tommy on the spot, and welcome to Disney 101. Hope everyone is doing well, staying happy, and being safe. And as always, I am joined by my main man, Steve, down in Orlando, Florida. Steve, how are you doing today?
You know me. I am magical as always.
I love it. I love it. And Steve and I also do a wrestling YouTube channel as well, where we do videos. And so when I ask Steve that, he does not respond that same way, and it always makes me a little down in the dooskies. But him telling us this today does make me very happy. It is so exciting to be here with you guys today. We have some really fun news to share with all of you. But before we do, make sure you leave a big thumbs up and subscribe to Disney 101. We have tons of great vlogs, long-form shows, breaking news hotlines, whatever you can possibly think of in the world that is Disney and beyond, all right here on the channel. So it's great to have you aboard. But today, Steve, we are here because this video we're about to talk about here is several years in the making. A lot of videos we do sometimes are nostalgic, so we go back in time several years. So in this video, we're going to go back in time, but we're getting ready, or at least you're getting ready, for something pretty cool. Do you want to share this news as to what exactly you're preparing for?
Yeah, I mean, this vacation that we are, knock on wood, going on this summer in the vacation itself for my wife starts in about 18 days, and then for me in just about 28, something like that. But yeah, this vacation is just about 3 years to the date in the making.
Wow, that is something there, and it is when you think about kind of everything that's gone on with the pandemic, you do forget that for a lot of people, they had trips booked out, long-term trips booked out, and those trips got canceled. So I give you at least a lot of credit for sticking with it, and now finally, hopefully, as I'll knock on wood over here so that my device doesn't fall down.
Yeah.
I hope you get a chance to go on it, and what are you going to be doing?
So let me take you back to the summer of 2019.
Strap in, everyone. Put on your seatbelt. Put on your make sure you secure these bad boys, and let's go.
Which is felt like it's a lifetime ago at this point. But yeah, so summer of 2019, my wife and I were on a cruise. It was a 5-night Disney cruise. It was special because there were 2 stops at Castaway Cay, Disney's private island in the Bahamas. And what we like to do is when we're on a cruise, you book your next cruise because you get you get a discount, you get like a stateroom credit, a whole bunch of things. As of course they incentivize booking another vacation while you're on your current vacation.
Right.
It's a thing that Disney has done for years.
I do think in the archives of Disney 101, we may have talked about that trip.
I feel like we probably did.
Yeah.
But so on that cruise, we had booked a vacation for 2021. And it was going to be a European cruise. It was going to be the Greek islands. It was going to be phenomenal. And we had booked that for 2021. Little did we know that cruise was going to end up getting canceled. Throughout 2020, it was funny because March of 2020, right when everything was kicking out, and lockdown started and quarantines and everything like that started, I was with my cousins at Disney Springs, and we were talking about this cruise that we were going to be going on in 2021. And we were like, yeah, but that's like over a year away. I mean, come on. It's not like we're going to still be going through all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait, so were they down at Disney Springs like during the pandemic, or was it like before
it was
started?
Basically what, like, they were there, and then like literally 2 or 3 days later is when quarantines started.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
They were like the last ones to go to
basically,
the park before everything shut down.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So obviously, that cruise ended up getting canceled. We got all of our money back and everything, of course.
It's so true though, because when the pandemic first started, I mean, a lot of people were doing like, hey, I'm going to vlog every day. Hey, we're going to do podcasts every day.
Right.
Because you thought it was going to be
2
like
weeks.
A week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a month tops, not years.
Yeah. So that ended up getting, squashed and everything. And then fast forward a little bit to when Disney announced their new cruise ship, the Disney Wish.
Okay.
So the Disney Wish is their brand new ship. It's going to be state of the art. Everything's, everybody is so excited about it coming out. And it was supposed to start its maiden voyages actually in about a week or two at this point now. So we had booked one of the first, I want to say we maybe booked the third ever cruise that was supposed to be on the Disney Wish.
Wow.
Because we didn't want to, like, the maiden voyage booked out like almost instantly, right? Because, it's a big thing. It's a big thing to go on the maiden voyage. And we were like, all right, well, we don't necessarily want to go on the second ever. Because, and we're looking at the price points and all that stuff, and it's like, it's not really like, so we were like, all right, let's do the third one.
Because still working out the kinks.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly our mindset was, let's book maybe the third one. They hopefully have all of the kinks worked out. Everything's going to be a little bit smoother. It was a heck of a lot cheaper. So let's go for it. And then, of course, everything continued, and the ship ended up getting delayed from being produced, from coming over from Europe here. And so all of those first cruises got canceled. Now, again, we got all of our money back, and a lot of that money that we had, like, we had paid it off already because, it was actually a long time coming also. So we'd gotten all of our money back, but then Disney Cruise Line said, because this cruise just straight up got canceled, and it wasn't for a COVID reason or anything like that, it was just because it was delayed, they offered us...
that wasn't because of COVID.
I guess in the grand scheme of things, it was, because it was probably due to like supply chain issues and delays and all of those things, just kind of the ripple effect. It wasn't, I mean, they're going on cruises and everything, like they're doing cruises and stuff. So it's not like that was the main reason why it got canceled. But then they said, all right, well, we're going to offer you 50% off of your next cruise, as long as you take it by the end of, I think at the time they were saying, you just have to take it by the end of 2023 at that point.
Wow, that's crazy. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave that there for a moment.
I mean, incredible. Disney didn't have to do that. So, right. I mean, that's now, do you think it had to do with the fact that they've seen you've had a couple of different cruises in the past and you were a good customer, or they just felt like, hey, they owed you something because of
I'm pretty sure it was across the board.
Oh, wow.
Because of the fact that it was this kind of, it was a maiden voyage, and the reason why they were canceling was kind of one of those, when it's inclement weather or when it's something like that, a lot of times they'll still offer you something as a form of like saying, hey, we're sorry that your cruise got canceled, obviously. But this is one of the steepest discounts from what I know that they've ever done.
And they basically let you guys whatever you wanted to choose, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there were no restrictions on it. The only restrictions was the deadline of like December of 2023.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to hold off on that part for a second.
Yeah.
So another vacation that ended up getting booked and then moved around and stuff was my wife's trip to Israel. My wife was going with her mom to Israel.
This is aside from that trip.
This was aside from that, and because this was supposed to happen back in December.
Okay, gotcha.
Which was right around the time of the Omicron outbreak.
That's right.
Israel has been at the forefront of locking down and quarantining and getting vaccinations and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So they said, sorry, like your trip can't happen. So they ended up having to push their trip back again to June.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
So, yeah, and it was unfortunate, but again, it leads up to this. Everything happens for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
So basically what happened was my wife, so she's going, I want to say she's going from the 20th to the 30th of June. And she's going to be 10 days in Israel. So then we started looking at, okay, what kind of cruise do we want to use this 50% discount on? and we were going back and forth, and like, we could go, like, we could make a quick like 4 or 5 night cruise, like, or a 7 night cruise, and it'll be dirt cheap. It'll, it's 50% off. Like, that would be great. And then I started looking, because I was like, you know what? Let me just see what's going on. And I looked at a 12-night Mediterranean cruise over the summer. And I was like, all right, this is very similar to the cruise that we were going to take in 2021. And it has a lot of the same stops. A lot of these stops were on both my wife and myself, our bucket lists, our respective bucket lists.
Wow.
So we're looking at this going, all right, this is more than our original cruise was going to cost. However, with this 50% discount, it is a heck of a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, how would you feel about going on this Mediterranean cruise?
Incredible.
And like, awesome, yeah, like, let's book it. We have to. And then the dates, as we looked at the dates and what dates my wife had booked for Israel and what dates this cruise was, there are about 3 or 4 days of like back and forth. And the thing is, especially if we're going to Europe, if we're going to all halfway across the country, halfway across the world,
right,
we want to get there a little bit early. Number one, because we want to see stuff in Italy, because it sails out of Rome. Right. And number two, because you always want to get there early, because you don't want, travel shenanigans to happen, and all of a sudden now you were flying out the day of, and your flight got canceled or delayed or whatever, and now you can't get on the cruise ship.
Right.
So you always want to arrive, if you're traveling to your destination and then going on the cruise, you always want to arrive a day or two early.
Which is why a lot of people usually will do like the parks for a day or two. Yeah.
If you're going on a cruise out of Port Canaveral here in Florida, you always want to do a couple of days. You come down, spend a day or two at Disney World, and then hop on your cruise ship.
Yeah, very cool.
So we were doing a very similar thing, and then we were like, all right, but then with her flying back, and it taking a little while to fly back, and us wanting to leave a couple of days early, that basically meant that she was going to be flying back to the States just to turn around maybe a day or less later to fly back to Europe. Wow. And so I was like, we looked at it, and I wasn't sure if she wanted me to broach this, or if I just kind of said, well, that doesn't make sense. So why don't we just extend the beginning of this vacation, kind of gap it, and then we'll find other places to go, and I'll just meet you somewhere in Europe.
Wow, that is awesome.
So from her, she kind of starts the vacation, even though I'm not going on that part. Yeah. So she's going to be in Israel for 10 days. And then I am meeting her in Croatia.
Wow, that's really cool.
So I want to say that's going to be somewhere around June 30th or July 1st, depending on, because that's when the flights and, when we actually get there. We're spending about a day and a half in Croatia, and we're going to go to our, a highlight for us is going to be going on the Game of Thrones tour, because that's where they filmed a lot of Game of Thrones. So like King's Landing is there. There's, I think, Karth. So there's beautiful castles. There's beautiful scenery. It's right around there. Yeah. So we're going to be spending about a day or two in Dubrovnik.
Very cool. Okay.
Then we're kind of taking a puddle jumper from Dubrovnik to Rome, and we're going to spend.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how far is that?
It's so Dubrovnik. So if I'm doing geography correctly, it's basically it's a little bit further up from Greece.
Okay.
On the other side of Greece.
Yeah.
So it's right near I'm blanking. Serbia.
Okay. Yep.
They're very close to that. So we're basically going to fly over, and then we're going to spend a couple of days in Rome, because Rome has been on my wife's bucket list since high school.
Yeah, mine as well. I'd love to get there.
Yeah, and I am, of course, being an ancient history teacher, so much of what I teach happened having to do with Rome and the Roman Empire and, ancient Rome and all that stuff. So both as a tourist wanting to go and do it and as a teacher wanting to learn more about one of the things that I teach, I was like, yeah, like it was like a no-brainer to spend a couple more days in Rome to do all, so we have a couple of plans about doing a lot of like the touristy stuff. And we wanted a little bit of time to just kind of walk around and kind of relax before go on this absolutely absurd cruise that we'd booked.
Wow. So you guys are really going to be out and about. Your wife will be out there all told for about a month.
Yeah.
Wow. And you're going to be yourself for over 2 weeks.
Yeah. So 20 days, I think, is my number, all things considered.
Wow.
So got to run down. Of course, we got to run down this. It is a 12-night Mediterranean cruise with Greek Isles cruise from Rome ending in Barcelona.
Wow. So you get the cruise, you pick it up in Rome.
Yeah, it picks up in Rome, and this is unique for a lot of the European cruises. Will start one place and end in another place. A lot of, your more kind of traditional cruises in the States, most of them are kind of circuit where you sail out of Port Canaveral and then you go to a couple of different places and then you come back to Port Canaveral.
Interesting.
This one doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I didn't realize that you can get it. So what I assumed was going on was that you guys were going to be skipping a couple days of the cruise and picking it up at one of the stops, but it's actually where it starts. Yeah, that's why I was a little confused. I was like, that sounds like, why would you do that? But that's awesome.
So, and something that, as a cruise tip that you might want to be aware of a lot of times, especially from what I've seen in these European ports, the name of the port isn't necessarily, if I told you that we were going to Civitavecchia first. Yeah. Probably have no idea. But that's because that is the name of the port. It's not Rome proper. It's very close. It's very, very close. But Civitavecchia is the actual port. It's at the port town where this cruise sails out of.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So a lot of times you'll see one city and then in parentheses you'll see another city. And it's like, it's like, if I were to say, oh yeah, I'm from Davenport, and people kind of go, huh? I'm from Orlando. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's like when people say they're going on a cruise to Cancun, or they're going to be taking a boat ride to Cancun. You really can't take a boat ride to Cancun. You can, but most of the time, most of the bigger ones will go into Isla Mujeres, and then you'd have to take a little boat from there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, got to run down the itinerary that we have so far.
Yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely. And it's exciting because now as we get closer to the trip, too, you're going to get more information. Right? Is that how Disney Cruise works? Don't they give you some extra stuff?
Yeah, so we're right around, actually. We are, I think it's 33 days and a few number of hours and stuff from the cruise. So at the 30-day mark is when you do your online check-in. And that's when we do, you just kind of start the process to make when you get to the port a little bit easier, especially with a cruise like this where it's completely another country, everything from start to finish. So there's a lot of like passport information and stuff that you want to put in, a lot of documentation and stuff like that. With COVID, there's more restrictions depending on where you're going, where you're coming from, where you are headed, all sorts of stuff. Also, we are very excited because the room that we booked is an inside stateroom.
Interesting.
Which, again, with our thought of cruises most of the time we don't spend time in the stateroom. Especially on a cruise like this where we have so many different ports and we don't have too many days at sea. I think even though it's a 12-night cruise, we have 3 days at sea. And we're going to be outside anyway doing stuff on the ship.
Right. And do you then return to the ship to sleep?
Yeah.
Right. So I've never been on a cruise. So I can go through
the breakdown and stuff like that. The thing is, though, is that when we booked this, we booked as what is called a guaranteed status, a guaranteed stateroom, which basically means you are guaranteed a stateroom.
And a stateroom means
It's your room.
gotcha. And what is
Yeah.
so when you said an inside stateroom, how is that different than a different room that's there?
So there's a bunch of different categories. So the least expensive ones are the inside stateroom, and that is because typically, depending on there's two different categories of inside stateroom. There's standard or deluxe. The only difference is the deluxe is a little bit bigger, and it has a split bathroom.
Okay.
So, as you might imagine, and I feel like I'm back in Disney Vacation Club mode when I'm booking cruises and describing cruise for the first time, because this is exactly the spiel that I would do there too. As you might imagine, because you're on a ship, it's kind of like being on an airplane where you have a finite amount of room.
Right.
So your hotel room is your stateroom, and your stateroom is going to be, they have a lot of nooks and crannies and a lot of storage space and a lot of options for that. But you're not going to have, you don't want to go into a cruise expecting you're going to have a full-sized hotel room.
Gotcha.
It's going to be on the smaller side. Now, that being said, the Disney Magic staterooms are a little bit larger than the Dream and the Fantasy. So we have that going for us. But as far as the categories go, you have inside room, then you have an ocean view room, which, as you might imagine, you have a view of the ocean. And again, depending on the deck that you're on, it could be lower or higher. It could be a big porthole. It could be a smaller porthole. So that's an ocean view room. And then you have the rooms with the verandas, which is a balcony.
Ah, okay.
So the thing again with us, like if we're going to be spending time on the cruise, we've had verandas before and we spent a little bit of time on them, but with considering this cruise, how much more an ocean view room or a veranda room was, even though it was 50% off, we said, we're just going to stick with the inside room.
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly because getting back to that guaranteed status, we don't have a stateroom assigned to us. Typically, when you book, you can choose the exact stateroom, the exact location on the ship, and everything like that. It's kind of like when you book a flight, a flight for, you can book your seat, or you could kind of be at random.
Gotcha.
So what we have is an inside stateroom booked guaranteed, which means that if for some reason, when it comes to actually assigning us a room and they don't have any inside staterooms available, you're going to get upgraded to the next available stateroom.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool.
So, we are at least getting the standard inside room, which is, the lowest that you can get anyway. But with the potential of when it comes time to assign us a stateroom, we could potentially get a slightly better room.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool. I completely that's always my big thing when it comes to, like, obviously you're on a Disney cruise, so you're going to be in the Disney room. But for me, that's always the big argument for me of why I don't usually book on property. And I'm sure it's for a lot of people, you're barely going to be in the rooms because you're doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and it's even to me, when you have kids, it's a different story. When you're traveling with multiple people, it's a different story where you might need a bigger room. When it's just a couple like us, we don't need the extra room. We don't need the extra veranda or anything like that, because it's even more where you are not far away from anything that you're going to be doing on the ship.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you could be closer, but like, how much closer is an extra $5,000 or $10,000 really going to be?
Exactly. Wow, it's that much more. Wow.
Oh yeah, or more.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So with that in mind, we were like, we're gonna book our place on the ship.
Yeah.
And just kind of go for it.
That's awesome.
So I've been compulsively checking, because basically, sometimes what they will send you an update to your reservation that says your reservation has been changed. For example, there's 2 different dining times.
Okay.
Basically, you could have an early dining time or a later dining time. And especially with this, where we might want to be out in the port, out in the city doing stuff when we're in, Rome or Florence or Sicily or wherever it is we're going to be. You can, because the ports are like the aboard time is so late.
Mm.
And also we just kind of don't want to be eating at 5 o'clock every day. We wanted the second seating. We wanted the later seating, but they didn't have any available when we booked. So we booked main dining. We got waitlisted for the second seating. We ended up getting the second seating. So they sent us an updated email confirmation. Sometimes they don't do that when they give you a stateroom though. And it just kind of pops up there.
Oh, okay.
So I've been compulsively checking pretty much every single day, at least once a day, to see if we're going to get a room. So far, we haven't yet, but.
No, but you got a little time before it's coming anyway. I'm sure it's going to come soon. That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I can get into the ports now. The ports of call, the locations that we're going to be going to.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're starting over in Rome here now on the official cruise.
The official cruise starting on June 6th.
July 6th.
July 6th. Yes, I'm sorry. I'd be there.
If it was June 6th, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get all this content up here in time for everything.
Yeah, July 6th.
July 6th. Okay.
So leaving Rome day 1. Day 2, we are arriving in Palermo, which is Sicily.
Okay. Very nice. I always wanted to go there. That sounds great.
Yes. We don't have. I don't believe we have anything booked for Sicily. As far as so when you get to a port, you can do a bunch of different stuff that is booked through Disney, which are called port adventures or excursions.
Nice.
And these are going to be things and they have a number of different ones ranging from, a lot of them, because especially with Mediterranean, it's going to be focused on going to a lot of the historical sites, or you could do a wine tasting. You could just do a scenic drive. You could do, whole sorts of stuff. So I'll get into some of those that we have booked as well, but we don't have anything booked for Sicily because we have so many other things booked.
Yeah.
Day 3
Sicily, do you think you'll get out and walk around and see some of the city though?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the other things where we were like, there are going to be some places that we can just kind of go and walk around.
Yeah.
And not feel like we need to. But one of the things so let's see if I click on here. So what it says, when you book a cruise, they'll give you 2 things for the port times: the ashore time and the aboard time.
Gotcha.
So the ashore time is when the gangplanks open, you can get off of the ship and you can go enjoy the port. Nice. Typically, if you have a port adventure or an excursion booked, you probably are going to be going off a little bit earlier. And then once everybody that has an excursion is off, then kind of the general population is allowed off the ship.
Gotcha. Okay. Right
so on. The ashore time for this is 9 a.m.
Okay.
The aboard time is 4:45.
Oh, so you got like a whole day there. That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty much a whole day of, whatever you want to do. And you just need to make sure that you're on board by 4:45.
Otherwise, you spend a lot more time in Sicily than you had.
Yeah, exactly. Then you'd have to find your own transportation to the next port. And
yeah, that's tough.
So the next day after is our first day at sea.
Okay. So because you're traveling for the full day.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So you're not landing anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You're just going to be traveling essentially, which is also probably going to be my first laundry day.
Gotcha.
Because I did not plan on packing 20 days worth of clothes. I planned on about 6 or 7 days of clothes, and then I was going to do laundry on the ship twice before because.
Oh, you could do laundry on the ship.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought you were saying it's going to be my first laundry day. That was the first time you're going to change your clothes, and I was very confused as to why you were going to be wearing the same clothes every day, and so I was thrown off. But I'm glad to know it's because you're going to have to do laundry because you can only bring so many outfits. That makes sense.
Yeah. Because otherwise it's going to be I can't imagine I would have to bring 2 full suitcases.
Right.
Plus a whole mess of stuff. So yeah, no. Then the next day after day 4 of this cruise is Santorini, Greece.
Great.
So and if you're not familiar with Santorini, if you've ever seen a picture of basically where it's the beautiful hilly island where it has the white walled houses and the blue capped kind of like domes,
Oh yeah, okay.
that's Santorini. Um, and so our board time is 8 a.m. because we have our first excursion booked that is supposed to last about 4 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh damn.
Which is going to be going to some ancient ruins and stuff.
Oh, very cool.
And then let's see, our next one right after that, day 5, is Mykonos.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's another popular destination.
Yeah.
And Mykonos again because I am a huge history nerd. The only reason why we're doing an excursion here is because there is the island of Delos nearby, which has a lot of historical significance, and it was, very, very important for the ancient Greek history. Most other people probably couldn't care less about it, but
Hey, but at the end of the day, if it's something that it's important to you, then it's your vacation. That's the best part
yeah,
about doing a vacation is doing things that you're a once in a lifetime opportunity to be there. You might as well do
exactly,
things that mean the most to you.
exactly. And so that is July 10th, and then day 6, July 11th, our halfway point in this cruise, uh, also happens to be my birthday.
That is your birthday. That's right. I didn't know if you wanted to share that,
Yeah.
but it is indeed your birthday.
So on my birthday, we'll be landing in Athens,
Oh wow,
which
that's
is of
awesome.
course home to the Acropolis. All sorts of stuff. It is Greece's capital now. It was basically Greece's capital in ancient times as well. So we are spending a solid 7 hours and 15 minutes on a tour of pretty much everything that you can tour in Athens.
That is awesome, and what a great way to spend your birthday too.
Yeah. So very excited about that. Probably one of the things that I'm most excited about on this cruise, aside from everything else.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. Other than the time that I came down to visit you in 2013 for your birthday, I think it's probably
Yes, of course.
gonna be right, right up there with that.
Yeah. And so our next day, day 7, is our second day at sea.
Okay.
And then this is we have our fancy dinner at Palo booked.
Oh, very
So
cool.
because you don't necessarily aren't too familiar with cruises, basically the way that a Disney cruise works is that there are 3 main restaurants that you will have an opportunity to go to dinner at, and it rotates. So you're
Okay.
not, and so they will tell you what restaurant you're going to be going to what night. And because, on a cruise like this, because it's so long, you're going to be going to each one multiple times, and the menus rotate, so it's not like you're going to have the same thing every time. But it's great. It's a great kind of tourist scenery. The best thing is you don't have to make any reservations if you don't want to. You don't have to
Oh,
worry
that's
about,
neat.
just like, if you're at Disney World, you're like, where are we going to eat? You don't have to go and scramble for that. This one, on the other hand, though, because it is a special signature dinner and because it is adults only, this one you have to make a reservation for. This one, there's a little bit of an upcharge, but it is well worth it. Anybody that has ever gone on a Disney cruise will tell you that you need to go to Palo.
Oh, so Apollo is available at other Disney cruises.
Yeah, so Palo
Oh,
is it's kind of like the restaurant itself is on all of the other ships.
oh,
Um,
awesome.
so and it's going to be a little bit different on each one, and they have similar options. A couple of the things that Palo is known for is their steak, and as well as their dessert, the souffle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so we're gonna have that. Very excited about that as well.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And that one is the day after your birthday.
Day after my birthday, yeah. So
Got it. Very cool.
and then day 8 on the 13th, we are going to be in Pompeii,
Ah,
Naples.
okay. Very
And
cool.
this is the number one thing on my wife's bucket list. Because we're going to be touring the ruins of Pompeii. We're going to go up to Vesuvius. We're going to hike Mount Vesuvius.
Oh, wow.
Go to Pompeii. We're going to go to the museum. So a lot of fun stuff there as well.
Yeah, that's very cool. I hear that's like one of those top places to hike too, so that's really cool.
Yeah. So we're super super excited. I think that might be the thing that I'm most excited for secondary on the cruise.
Oh, very very cool.
So then after that, day 9 is I think if I'm not mistaken, our last day at sea. Yeah, it's our last day at sea. So this is going to be my second my second laundry day.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It'll be
right,
kind of
because you really have to redo the
yeah
okay.
because
yeah.
And then after that, it'll also be a gym day. There's a full fitness center on the ship as well.
Oh, very cool.
So it'll be another gym day. And then day 10 is Florence and Pisa.
Okay, very cool.
So we're going to be doing, I believe this is basically because it is kind of far away. Basically, what they do is you can try and get your own transportation there. You can try and find like an Uber or a taxi or something that'll take you from the port to there, but you're probably not going to want to actually do that. So what we're doing here is we're doing another Florence and Pisa tour. We'll get to see the Leaning Tower. We'll be seeing a bunch of stuff in Florence, so that'll be a lot of fun.
That is very cool. If only you had a Goofy movie shirt you could wear.
Right.
Wear that. That'll be cool.
I feel like if I were to get that and wear it on that day, I would get so much hate.
I feel like the people on the boat would appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome though. That's good. Amazing. You get to go see that for sure.
Yeah. Starting to wind down now. This one, I'm going to butcher a lot of these names because now that we're into France, the next one is Cannes.
Okay.
So, which is Monte Carlo and Nice.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Now, this was actually originally not the original port that we were going on. I think they had to change this for some reason. I'm blanking on what the original one was, but as it happens, we are going to be going to France in 2023.
Oh.
Through my school. School is doing a tour, and those are two of the places that we're going on that tour. This is the French Riviera. So we don't have too much actually booked for that. And again, because we're stopping in Monte Carlo, like you can just get off and walk around.
For sure. Yeah, no,
that was
awesome.
Something that we needed. And then our last stop is Marseille,
which is in France.
Yeah. And that is, we're going to a castle because I saw that there was an excursion to a castle. So we're going to a castle.
That is very cool. And then the trip itself ends in Barcelona.
Yep. And then so the last day we get to Barcelona and we get off of the ship. And again, it was one of those things where because you get off the ship so early, but because of all the transportation and all the things, when we're looking at flights, we kind of had two options. We are either going to leave that day and have some sort of crazy layover in either Paris or I think Dublin.
Gotcha.
Like weird kind of layover, and we were going to get back to the States like a day or two later because of the layover and like travel time and everything like that. Or we can wait in Barcelona and then fly out of Barcelona the next day and get back to Florida around the same time. So we're just going to stay in Barcelona for an extra day or so, about a day and a half. We're going to fly out of Barcelona. I think there's a layover in Atlanta, but then we're going to be right back in Orlando.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. Especially, I mean, Barcelona is beautiful. You get a whole day there, that'd be great.
Yeah, and that's another one where it's like, oh no, we're spending an extra day in Barcelona. Sad.
Yeah. That's what an incredible journey that's going to be for you guys. I'm very happy for both of you. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Amanda being your wife being able to throw a trip to Israel on before all of that too.
Just because
it'll be such a culture shock to eventually come back to real life after all of that. But what a fun, and because of Disney Cruise too, you're getting all the entertainment and things that come with a Disney Cruise while on the actual cruise, right?
Yeah, and that's it is going to be, and I don't know. I mean, I could say I don't know what I'm more excited for, the cruise itself or all the destinations, but I'm definitely excited for all the destinations. But I'm
Yeah.
also still very, this is going to be the first time in 3 years that we went on a Disney cruise,
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah.
which
Wow.
for us is crazy to think
Yeah.
about.
You've gone on a variety of them, and do they let you know ahead of time, like when you go to the parks, they give you like hey, at this time this person will be signing, at this time this person will be doing it. Do they tell you like that type stuff, the different like
Yeah, so
entertainment you can
so there's
expect?
there's actually an app on your phone that it's called the Navigator, and it has all sorts of stuff. So all of the different stuff that you can do on the ship.
Oh wow.
There's all sorts of like wine tastings and mixology seminars and all sorts of stuff if you're into that. There's a ton of stuff for the kids. The kids get their own sections.
Oh wow.
There's a bunch of different kids clubs that are amazing for kids. I'm kind of jealous that I never got a chance to go in them because I'm not allowed as an adult.
Yeah.
But then you also have like your normal cruise stuff. So you got your pools, you got your sauna, your spa, you got the hot tubs and all that kind of stuff. There's just a ton of different things that you can do.
When we went to the Nickelodeon one in the Dominican Republic, our daughter was too young for the kids club, but the kids club, they had a whole day of like things set up for the kids that just seemed like the most incredible stuff that they could do while at this resort. And I was very much jealous that Dakota was a little too young for it at the time, because it just looks awesome.
Oh yeah, and it's like there's on the ships there's like a Marvel area, there's a Star Wars area, there's like a Toy
Wow.
Story area. Depending on the ship, it's different a little bit from one to the other.
Sure.
But like you can walk by it and kind of peek in, and it's crazy the kind of stuff that it's in there. And then of course there's still stuff for the older kids too and the adults. So
That's awesome. Well, I am excited to hear more about the trip here as the weeks continue on here, and as you get more information, and then certainly when you get on the actual trip, I'm sure you're going to get, I don't even know if you're going to have a phone that's going to be even accessible. I don't know what carrier you have. I know for us, when we go, we can't, because we're joining the fine folks over in Verizon.
Yeah, we have Verizon.
Yeah.
So I will be able to take pictures
Yeah.
if, depending on where we are, if the town that we are in happens to have free Wi-Fi, we might be able to get onto it. The cruise ship has Wi-Fi, but it is kind of expensive.
Oh,
so
yeah, for sure.
Unless you need to actually do it for like business or an emergency or something, I probably won't be doing that. But I also did get a GoPro just for this occasion.
Oh, very cool.
So
you'll be able to
stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really happy for you guys, and certainly follow us along on social media at Disney 101 Pod on both Twitter and also on Instagram, so that when Steve does return, or at some point, we get to see some of these great photos here, and it's going to be awesome. So following along on your adventures.
You can follow along either because you love it or because you hate it. Either one.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And of course, let us know if you have been on a Disney cruise and some of your experiences. We love to hear them here, and I can't wait till we'll be able to reconvene at the end. Of course, we'll be back on Disney 101 here within the coming weeks here. I still have some vlogs to throw up, and another trip or two that I have coming up as well that we're going to break down here for you guys. But let us know what you thought here in the comment section below, and look forward to hearing more about it here as the weeks go on, Steve.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks again for sharing your itinerary and everything with us. What an incredible journey! 3 years in the making. I'm really excited for you guys that you guys get to go on this trip, and we will see you guys next time right here on Disney 101.